Josh Allen, though, did not have an amazing game. You might be hearing, oh, he was so good. It wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. He was all right. He was fine. He had a couple of touchdown passes, and the Bills, they never trailed in this game. They jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Green Bay playing uphill and Buffalo playing downhill, and the Bills win 27-17. Yes, the Packers covered the line, so that big favorite Buffalo unable to finish it off, and so Green Bay won the bet. The Bills win the game. Buffalo 6-1, and the Green Bay Packers. Where have you gone, Vince Lombardi? More importantly, where have you gone, Devontae Adams? The Green Bay Packers, with Aaron Rodgers still at quarterback, have now lost 4 consecutive games. They dropped to 3-5. You are what your record says you are, and they blow. The Green Bay Packers suck. They lost now to the Giants, Jets, Commanders, and Bills. Now, you say the Buffalo loss is a legitimate loss. Those other losses, though, are embarrassing. So let us discuss the question. Very simple. What does Aaron Rodgers do now to turn around the Packers? What does he do? All right, so I've got Dragon, Powder Puff, and Sesame Street. And we will tie all of these random things together, and we are going to make some cheese curds, which is one of the great, let me tell you, cheese curds, one of the great foods. I don't know anyone that doesn't enjoy a cheese curd. I don't. All right, so Aaron Rodgers has tried several motivational tactics. Now, we've been taking notes here because we're losers, and we have no life, and so we pay attention to this stuff. So he's tried to be Mr. Positive, Mr. Hey, everything's great. He's been negative guy. He's mixed in that, calling teammates out this past week, saying that some should be benched, which is also indirectly taking a pot shot at LaFleur, Coach LaFleur, and the Packer coaching staff in general there. When you're saying that the wrong guys are playing, they're making mistakes, and no one's calling them out. Well, you're calling out Matt LaFleur. You're calling out the players, but you're also indirectly calling out the head coach. And none of this has worked, by the way. Not a single thing that Aaron Rodgers has done has produced, because you actually have to have decent performance on the field. You can talk. I love talk. I do talk radio. I love talk. Talk. All I do is talk. But you gotta produce. You gotta stop barking and start biting is what you gotta do. There's a lot of bark. There's not a lot of bite. And so the Packers, Aaron Rodgers is driving the bus. It's a struggle bus right now, right down Suck Avenue. And that's the Green Bay Packers. That's the misery tour continues. I wouldn't be shocked if they lose to the Lions. I would not be shocked if they lose to the Lions next week in Week 9. Would you? If you lose to the Commanders and you lose to the Jets, you can lose to the Lions. It can happen. It's possible. So as far as what happens now, what does Aaron Rodgers do now for the Packers? Obviously back to the drawing board, and we anticipate with bated breath his next paid audio appearance, where Rodgers will pop up, I believe it's Tuesday, with his BFF, his paid BFF, Pat McAfee. Gets paid a lot of money to do that on YouTube. And they'll have some cute slogan. He'll have a slogan or a catchphrase, and he'll talk about the deeper meaning. You know, it's more than just football. It's a deeper meaning. And we hope he shows up with the dragon breath. Yet again, spit and fire, like a fire-breathing dragon there. But clearly the words are not the problem. If all it took was Aaron Rodgers to get on some platform and rant and rave and say, everything's going to be okay or everything's not okay, and that's all it took, then obviously the Packers would not be sitting here at 3-5 pretty much midway through the season. Right? So you don't have a 50% marker because there's an odd number of games. So you can either say it's 50% now, or you can say it's 50% next week. But that's the deal, right? Because it's we're at week 8. If you look at the schedule, this being week 8, and there's 17 games, so you can do the math on that. That's 47% through. My computer-like brain tells me, unless I look that up, 47% through. All right, now. Page 2 here. Why is Green Bay so mediocre. Is it as simple as Davante Adams leaving the room and that was it? That Davante Adams was the one that held the key to open up the Packer office? I say no. I say it's bigger than that. It is underperformance across the board. You got big name and little game. And I'm talking about the defense, and I'm also talking about special teams, not just the offense. The offense has not been great, clearly. But the defense was supposed to be, according to all the genius pundits, was supposed to be amazing. They told me this. They lied to me. They lied to my face. And the other argument is, well, let's be fair here. The Packers' defense hasn't even given up 30 points in a game. That is true. That is accurate. They have not. The most they've given up this year in a game was 27. They've done that. They did that, the Bills and the Jets. They've done that several times, so they've given up 27. No more than that. So you say, well, that should be enough to win with a good offense. But it seems like the Packers are in a lot of these games, but they F it up. Like the defense is just bad enough to screw it up, right? Just bad enough. And so it becomes like powder puff football is what it becomes for the Packers. Ineptitude and clumsiness. And there's this myth, and I've fought this for many years behind these microphones, that if you lose a lot of close games, you're not that bad. And that's not true. Bad teams lose close games all the time. All the time they lose close games. And people have been asked to pick up the slack here. There's a lot of swing bada, and a miss. Golden opportunities wasted. Opportunities to get the mega millions by stepping in and performing. And those chances have been, for the most part, wasted this year. And so Green Bay shows up. They have a predictable, methodical offensive approach. And you're like, okay, this is not particularly great, but it's not just the offense. The idea that if they just had Davante Adams, that everything would be fine and dandy and all that, I reject that. If you look at the numbers and the overall performance of the Green Bay Packers offense, they're 21st in the NFL, which is not good. It's a 32-team league. It's not good. But you look at the opportunities defensively to rise on up, and that has not particularly been great, is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to make my point here. All right, anyway, so welcome to Losersville for Aaron Rodgers and everyone else on there. But hey, if you want a moral victory, we don't believe in moral victories, but the Green Bay Packers did win the stat sheet. They lost the game to Buffalo, but they won the stat sheet, as they had more first downs and more yards, and a bunch more rushing yards. Ran for 208 yards. 208 yards against the Buffalo Bills defense. And so that's where we are. All right, whoop-de-damn-do. You won the stat sheet. Congratulations. Go get a cake and some balloons and have a party. All right, last word here. So we'll move over to the Buffalo side. The Bills win 27-17, so everything's great there. And now there's a lot of chatter. The trade deadline is on Tuesday. That's it. And it's the game of musical chairs. The music stops on Tuesday afternoon. If you do not complete the transaction by then, you are out of luck. See you later. See you next year. So you got to get it done by Tuesday afternoon, and the question being asked by many is how aggressive the Bills should be and how aggressive the Bills will be at the trade deadline, and the answer is rather obvious here. You move all of your chips in the middle of the table. Now, I'm old, so I remember when the Bills used to get to the Super Bowl every year and they didn't win, and I look at this Buffalo team and say, if they don't get to a Super Bowl in the next couple of years, they've totally effed this thing up. They should be like the Rams were last year, where they went all in. That's the model. F them picks. It's gone from a 32-team league down to a 3-team league midway through. You've got the Bills, the Chiefs in the AFC on an island. In the NFC, you've got the Eagles, and that's it. I'm not sold on the Giants or the Vikings or the Cowboys or the Seahawks. So if you're Buffalo, why not? This is a Sesame Street situation, right? Sunny days. Sunny days are sweeping the clouds away. And you're on your way to Arizona for the Super Bowl. The air is sweet. And how do you get to Sesame Street? Look, I think they're playing the Super Bowl on Sesame Street. Now, as I would trade for a running back. I would also apparently the defensive front needs some help there as the Bills were run over by the Packers. It's not a perfect situation. It's not, because we also saw Josh Allen throw a couple of picks, and if you've seen the postseason, which I assume you have over the years, you know the two things that destroy you are giving up a lot of rushing yards and interceptions. Generally, those two things kill you. And the Buffalo Bills, the numbers don't really matter. Bills had the number one defense in football last year, and Kansas City went up and down and all around against that Bills defense. So the stats don't necessarily matter. It's how you perform in that moment. And Josh Allen throwing interceptions, that's the atomic elbow in terms of trying to get a victory, if you will.